As a freelance filmmaker, I'm sure your life can feel pretty hectic, especially since every week looks different. But even if that's the case for you, there are still ways to better organize your life and add a little structure to your weeks. For me, that organization starts in Milanote. I use Milanote as a dashboard for my life. It's ever evolving to best fit what my life looks like in any given season. And this is especially helpful for me as a freelance filmmaker. Once you watch this video to get an idea of how I use Milanote to organize my life, these are a few questions to ask yourself. What are your non-negotiables or priorities? What systems do you have in place or need to establish? And what templates or checklists can help you keep those systems intact? Now I'm simply going to walk through and talk through my Milanote dashboard and how I use it to organize my life as a freelance filmmaker, so please take what's helpful and leave the rest. Alright, we'll start on the very left here. So you'll see, if you're familiar with Milanote, you know that these are boards. If you want to learn how to use Milanote, just do a YouTube search. I'm sure you'll find a better video on this. This is just how I use Milanote, not a tutorial on how to use Milanote, just so we're clear. But yeah, on the very left I have these 5 boards, and basically these boards are for anything that I'm working on perpetually or are ongoing projects or systems that I need to keep organized. So my income streams, my LLC, and my YouTube channel. And then these 2 references and archives. So references, I usually keep like links that I get from the internet that I may refer to at any given time. And my archive are where I drag anything that I no longer need, or things that are just like outdated, and I put them in here. I just keep them in the archive so that they're in one place, and if I ever need to go back to them, I can find them in here. So yeah, those are my boards. These are things that just need their own organization system. Whereas this whole dashboard is kind of general to my life, and as well as mostly like my freelance and my YouTube work. So we'll keep moving on here in the priorities column. And so you can see the list that I have, and they are ordered. They are in an exact order. So self-love / love holistic health. So first and foremost, with anything and just in my life, like, I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and taking care of the people that I love. I think that's my number one priority over money, over creativity. That is the number one thing for me. I don't really need a reminder, but this is just a reminder for me. The next 3 are probably the order that I need to be reminded of. So right now my priority is my freelance work, is my LLC. I do want to do more as a freelance DP and get more gigs. So that's something that I am continually working on. My third priority is YouTube. So I know I haven't posted in a while, at least at the recording of this video, I haven't posted in like 4 months, but I'm trying to change that just because I think, honestly, YouTube is the place for filmmakers now. You just look at Danny Govertz, Ryan Cow, Lou Forsythe, and these are all dudes, but I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna get in there as Yagerly. And then 4th is my part-time job, which I talked about in this video that I'll link here above, or below when it comes out. So yeah, those are my priorities at the moment, at least in terms of like just what I'm focusing on. Priorities are pretty straightforward. This vision link links me to my vision board that I made with Canva. It lives on Notion, actually. And I guess we'll just move down to quick links. So I have Notion linked because I also use Notion to organize certain aspects of my life, namely my finances and other things. But basically, I have a video about how I use both Milanote and Notion together, and I think they both have their benefits. And if you're interested in how I use both of them, again, you can watch that video. Again, I'll link it below probably. And then Life at Spaces is just a cool website that basically it helps you focus. Like, it just gives you these pretty, I'll click into it. Yeah, just give you like these pretty backgrounds, and you can play music in the background, or it has the sound of rain. It just helps me when I do deep work sessions, because I do have a tendency to want to like put a movie or like YouTube videos on in the background, which is not always conducive to deep work and actually focused work sessions. So I try not to put videos on the back. I try to put life at spaces on in the back. And so you'll probably find this next column more interesting, because I think these stuff is like pretty personal to me. But my weekly schedule, now I know it's not like a traditional schedule. It doesn't have like my days locked out, like 7 a.m. wake up, 12 p.m. like lunch. So basically this is just an overview of the things I do within a week. So we'll just start with this box at top. So something that's very important to me is my martial arts training, as well as I also weight train. Again, just for my overall health. I also just really, really enjoy martial arts. It's something that I do for myself. It's something that's very sacred to me, that I do. And I train at least 2 times a week, and I weight train about 3 times a week. Again, that's just for overall health, and it also helps me mentally and emotionally. And then we have my freelance box. Now you see this checklist here. I don't use it as like, again, the way that a typical checklist is used. I don't like check off these boxes typically. What I do is like on any given week, if I'm focused on something, I will bring it to the top. So honestly, lately I've been more focused on client acquisition, just kind of like sending out cold emails and all that. So I'll just drag whatever my priority is for that week up to the top, so rear for priority. And this week actually is a filming week, so I'm filming this video and I put film at the top of this. And then lastly is my part-time job as a photo assistant. So it says Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. approximately, and it says it's flexible, which it is. And you probably have not noticed, but basically these coincide with my priorities here. So my self-love, holistic health matches up with my martial arts and weight training. My freelance LLC, again, freelance and my freelance checklist, and then my YouTube checklist, and part-time job right here. Again, I know this is like set up in such like maybe a weird way, but this is just, again, an overview of what I may be focusing on any given week, and these are like non-negotiables for me. Like for instance, like my martial arts and weight training is a non-negotiable for me, and like my part-time job, I obviously know I have to show up to my part-time job unless I request the day off if I have a freelance gig. But I think just from these two sections, what I want someone to get out of that is, if you're not making time for it weekly, if not daily, then is it really a priority? Because priorities should make it on your schedule at some point, whether, again, it's a daily thing or a weekly thing. If you're not making time for it, then it isn't a priority. Like, by definition, it's not a priority. So I just encourage you to take inventory of your life and make sure that you're making time for the things and the people that are truly important to you, because if not, then I would say you probably shouldn't be calling it a priority. And I know that seems harsh, but that's just being real with you. Oh, I'm messing up my thing. Anyways, moving on. Not to get like preachy there. So current projects, again, pretty straightforward. These are any films or, client projects I may be working on at any given moment. So this first one, Glimpse, is actually a short film that I'm working on and I'm gonna shoot next week. So we'll click into it. This is a little DP dashboard that I have made for myself, but I think I'm getting ahead of myself. I typically use Milanote to organize like my more creative processes, just because I think it just is such a, not only does it like look good and look nice, but it really helps in terms of kind of the organic ideating process as a creative person that I really enjoy. I'm such a visual person, so the fact that Milanote just lets you like drag things and put them wherever you need them to be, and I love it. This is also another short film that I shot last week, and I have a little dashboard for the project, and then as you can see, my DP director game plan, which I won't click into because it's a little personal. And then I actually do have invested in Art of Documentary, if you're familiar with it. It is run by Mark Bone and Michael Del Monte, who are both really amazing documentary filmmakers, and I look up to both of them. So yeah, that's kind of where I put my notes about the course and all of the info and templates that they provide in that course, which I think is very worth it. And if you want me to talk more about that, I can. As I said, this is a very rough walkthrough just so you can see how I use Milanote, and I think sometimes it's just helpful to see how someone else uses a tool, which this is. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm sorry if it feels like a little bit all over the place, but we're going to keep going. So I'm going to talk about these two at the same time. So my monthly systems and my templates. So my monthly system, so basically here I actually do use this checklist as a regular checklist. So I have 2 tasks, right? Memory card backup due May 31st and MacBook Pro declutter May 31st. Again, this is part of his system, so I have to have a reminder of to keep this system up. And especially as a freelance filmmaker, as a content creator here on YouTube, memory card space is very important. So if I'm not keeping on top of backing up my memory cards so that I can then format those cards so that I have more space to shoot stuff. Again, I've let this system get backed up in terms of I haven't done it for months, and that kind of just like, it's annoying to be honest with you, because then I have all this footage to back up at one time and can get a little bit stressful. And then the same thing with my MacBook Pro declutter is like, when you're making things, especially when you're editing things and you're just like downloading like music clips or like images, it's like they get all it gets all messy, like your desktop gets messy or your downloads folder gets messy, and also your memory on your laptop gets all full. And this is just my way to make sure that doesn't, to mitigate that as much as I can. Again, monthly systems, I definitely have more monthly systems, but these are definitely like the main ones in terms of my filmmaking and my content creation, which now I'll talk about templates. So the cool thing about Milanote is that you can make your own templates for literally anything. Me, as a freelance filmmaker, I typically, again, get hired for jobs, and a lot of the time I'm bringing my own gear. So I made a gear list so that I don't have to continually like think about, oh, I need to bring that, this, that. This is basically just about all my like substantial gear that I more often than not bring on shoots. And even if I don't bring a certain item on a shoot, I can easily delete any one of these items. I won't do that now because this is my template. So basically I can make a new board, like if I have a shoot, right? Board. Go in here, say I have a new short, I'm gonna go more templates, my custom templates gear list. Use this template. And let's just say I don't need to bring any lighting on this shoot, so I can essentially just like delete this whole thing. This whole electric column, and then I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, that's something that definitely speeds up my workflow when I'm preparing for shoots, because I don't have to continually make a new list every time. The list is already there and I can adjust it accordingly for my needs for that shoot. Packing list is more of a general like packing list, like if I'm like going on vacation or if I am traveling for a job. It has, bring this many shirts, make sure to bring toothpaste, like stuff like that. Again, it's pretty helpful. Call sheet I don't use as much. I'm not going to click into it because I realize I have people's actual names there. But basically I use it on shoots that are smaller crews. And if you don't know what a call sheet is, basically it's just a document that you send out to a crew to tell them what time they need to arrive on set or at a location, the address of the location, who's going to be there, what talent's going to be there. So just kind of an organizational logistical thing. in the film world. And then my DP dashboard, which I kind of talked about earlier. Again, I'm working towards being a working cinematographer, working DP. So lately I have been shooting a couple shorts. I'm on my third one this year. So I made this dashboard, which I use to, again, drag in the script. I use this to make a mood board, and then I add like the shot list, or if we have multiple locations, I'll put pictures of them here. You know, anything that I need as a cinematographer to help my pre-production process be organized and succinct, especially if I'm sharing it with like a director or anyone else. And then these two links down here pertain to my finances. This one is in Notion, which I have also made a video about, which is probably one of my most viewed videos. It's how I use Notion to keep track of not only my business finances, but my personal finances. So you can watch that video. Again, I'll link it below if you're interested in that. And then debt payoff tracker, that's just a Google sheet that I have. Again, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's to keep track of my debt and how I'm paying it off, because I am in debt from school, and to be honest, I've bought gear on credit, which I don't recommend to anyone. And then lastly, this memory card backup process, because if you've ever had to do data management, especially if it's like your own personal data management and as well as like client data management, you just want to make sure that you have a system in place. And like, to be honest, I'm still very much figuring out that system, but I do have a checklist in Notion that I use to kind of make sure that when I am doing a backup each month, that I'm, you know, backing it up and I know where things are and all that. So yeah, that's how I use Milanote to organize my life. Hopefully, you know, this is helpful. I realize that I'm just kind of like talking through this, and you know, it makes sense in my mind, but to other people, you're probably gonna think it's weird. But again, if any of this is helpful, then great. If not, thanks for watching anyway. I think one of the best parts of being a freelance filmmaker is the variety that we experience week to week. However, I also know that it could be the greatest downside. So hopefully this video will help you add a little bit more organization and structure to your life. And at the very least, maybe it's reminded you where your priorities lie and if you need to make any adjustments. If you made it to the end of this video, know that I really appreciate you. And as I mentioned before, I have made a video about how I use Milanote and Notion as a freelance filmmaker. So if you want to watch that, I'll link it below. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Marissa Roxas. I'm a cinematographer from San Diego, California. And if you're someone who also wants to go from surviving to thriving filmmaker like me, then I'm happy to say you're in the right place, and I'm happy to have you here. So thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.